The sky above the planet Virelia glowed with shades of orange and violet as the twin suns began their descent. Captain Elias Kane adjusted the strap of his armored vest and scanned the barren landscape below. He had seen many planets in his career, but something about Virelia felt different. The air shimmered with faint energy waves, and strange pulses hummed in the distance. "Report," he said to Lieutenant Mara Chen, who stood beside him, her eyes tracking the terrain through the scanner. "Energy readings are unusual, sir." "Not like anything we've seen before," Mara replied. Her voice carried both excitement and concern. "It's not just natural fluctuations. There's something artificial. Maybe abandoned technology," Elias nodded. Humans had been exploring new star systems for decades, but Virelia remained largely uncharted. The planet's surface was harsh, rocky, and scarred by deep fissures. Yet it was alive with strange energy that made even seasoned soldiers uneasy. "Keep your eyes open," Elias warned. "We don't know what's waiting for us down there." Their small team descended in a stealth shuttle, the engines whispering as it sliced through the thin atmosphere. Elias felt a familiar thrill of anticipation. The tension before a mission always sharpened his senses. This wasn't just exploration. Something told him danger awaited. As the shuttle touched down, the team disembarked carefully. The ground was hot and cracked, and the air carried a faint metallic scent. Elias surveyed the area. Strange crystalline formations jutted from the rocks, pulsing faintly with the same energy the scanners had picked up. "Stay in formation," Elias instructed. "No one wanders off. We don't know what's here." They moved cautiously, the crunch of rocks underfoot echoing in the otherwise silent valley. Suddenly, the energy readings spiked. The scanner in Mara's hands beeped urgently. "Movement ahead," she whispered. Multiple signatures, too fast to be animals. Before Elias could respond, a fleet of alien drones emerged from the shadows. Sleek, silver machines with glowing red eyes hovered in formation. Their movement was precise and deadly. "Engage defensive positions," Elias shouted. His team spread out, taking cover behind the jagged rocks. Plasma rifles hummed as they fired. Sparks flew as bolts of energy struck the drones' metallic bodies. Elias sprinted forward, dodging a burst of energy that scorched the ground nearby. His mind worked fast, calculating angles, trajectories, escape routes. He had fought countless enemies before, but these drones moved with terrifying efficiency. One drone lunged at him from the side. Elias rolled, firing a quick burst that sent it spiraling into a crystal formation. The drone shattered, fragments scattering across the ground. Yet more appeared, emerging silently from the shadows. Then something unusual happened. A large shadow loomed above the battlefield. Elias looked up and saw her, an alien figure descending gracefully. Her presence was commanding, almost regal. She moved with an elegance that made the drone seem small and mechanical in comparison. The alien queen. Elias didn't know her yet, but he could feel her power. She had glowing blue skin, elongated limbs, and eyes that seemed to pierce through the chaos. Her crown of crystalline structures reflected the dying sunlight, giving her an almost otherworldly glow. The drones faltered, hesitation flickering in their movements. The queen raised her hand, and with a pulse of energy, the drones paused mid-attack. Elias froze, watching as the queen observed him intently, her eyes narrowing slightly. Something in her gaze made Elias's heart race. It wasn't anger, at least not in the way he expected. It was curiosity, respect, recognition. He couldn't explain why, but for a moment he felt that she was measuring him, understanding him in a way no enemy ever had. "Captain Kane," Mara said, her voice trembling slightly. Do you see her?" "I see her," Elias replied. "And she's not like the drones?" "Stay alert." The queen's eyes met his again. Then, without warning, she lifted her hand. The drones scattered, retreating into the shadows. Elias lowered his weapon slightly, confused but relieved. The queen floated higher, observing him silently before vanishing into the rocky cliffs with fluid grace. The battlefield fell quiet. Elias's team regrouped, shaking but alive. "What just happened?" Mara asked, still scanning the horizon. "Something strange," Elias said. "She didn't attack us. She just watched. There's a reason I feel like we're connected somehow. I don't know why." The team moved cautiously toward the scanner's source of energy. Crystals embedded in the rocks pulsed with a soft blue light like a heartbeat. Elias placed a hand on one of the larger crystals. A surge of energy ran through him, not painful but powerful, as if the planet itself was alive and aware of their presence. "Captain," Mara said, pointing to the readings. This energy, it's not natural. It feels intelligent, like someone created it to react to us. Elias nodded, feeling a chill. Or like someone is waiting for us. As the team continued their investigation, Elias couldn't shake the Queen's gaze from his mind. It was unlike anything he had experienced. Even in the middle of battle, he had felt something profound, an unexplainable connection that went beyond logic. Later that evening, as the twin suns disappeared below the horizon, Elias set up a temporary camp. The team ate in silence, each lost in thought. The alien drones were gone, but the sense of being watched lingered. Do you think she'll come back? Mara asked, breaking the quiet. I don't know, Elias admitted. But whatever this is, it's bigger than a simple encounter. I can feel it in my bones. We're part of something unusual, something that could change everything we know about this galaxy. That night, Elias sat by the small fire, staring at the stars. The planet felt alive, and somewhere in its shadows, the alien queen observed him. Her mind raced with questions she could not answer. Why did she feel drawn to this human warrior? Why did his courage, his determination, touch something deep inside her? Something she had never felt for any other being. For the first time in her long reign, the queen felt curiosity mingled with uncertainty. This human was not like the others. He did not run from fear, he did not underestimate danger, and he fought not for conquest but for survival, and perhaps for something greater. As the night deepened, the bond, unseen, unspoken, unexplainable, grew stronger. Neither Elias nor the Queen fully understood it, but both felt its pull. The universe, vast and full of conflicts, had begun weaving their fates together. And on this strange, uncharted planet, the first threads of a story that would stretch across stars and species had begun to form. Elias Kane didn't know it yet, but he had caught the attention of one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. And the alien queen, for the first time in millennia, felt something she could not name. A connection that defied duty, logic, and even fear. The battle had ended. But the real story, the story of trust, courage, and connection, was only beginning. The sun had barely risen over Virelia, painting the rocky plains in soft gold and rose. But Captain Elias Kane was already awake. His team was preparing for another reconnaissance mission to investigate the mysterious energy signals that had appeared in the planet's heart. Despite the previous battle, Elias's mind kept drifting back to the alien queen. Her presence, her gaze, the unexplainable connection he felt, it haunted him. He didn't understand it, but he knew it was real. Captain, the scanners picked up movement, Lieutenant Mara Chen said as she adjusted the console in the shuttle. It's not drones this time. Something bigger, Elias frowned. How big? Large humanoid energy signature, Mara replied, her voice calm but cautious. It doesn't match any known species in this sector. Elias's chest tightened. He had guessed it was her, the alien queen. But seeing her signature on a scanner was different. The pulse of her energy felt alive, intelligent, almost curious. The team descended into a canyon where the signals were strongest. Rocks jutted up like broken teeth, and the air shimmered with the same strange energy that had fascinated Elias before. The crystals embedded in the cliffs glowed faintly, as if responding to their presence. Stay close, Elias warned, motioning for the team to advance carefully. We don't know what we'll find, but we can't assume it's friendly. As they moved, the ground trembled slightly. Elias raised his weapon, instinctively scanning the area. Suddenly, the air seemed to warp. Light bent unnaturally, and a figure emerged from the shadows. The alien queen stood there, regal and imposing, yet strangely serene. Her glowing blue skin reflected the soft morning light, and her eyes locked on Elias's. He froze. The connection he felt the day before surged again, stronger, almost overwhelming. It was as if she could see inside him, understand him in ways no one else ever had. The queen spoke, but her voice was a melody of sounds Elias could not comprehend. Yet the meaning was clear in the intensity of her gaze. She was observing, not attacking. Hold your fire, Elias commanded his team, lowering his weapon. Do not provoke her. The queen tilted her head slightly, then raised her hand. The crystals around them pulsed with light, resonating in harmony with her energy. Elias felt a warmth run through him, a strange calm that eased the tension in his muscles. Mara whispered, Captain, I've never felt anything like this. It's alive, almost like she's reaching out to us, or just to you. Elias nodded slowly. I feel it too, but we must stay careful. Curiosity doesn't mean trust. For a long moment, neither moved. The Queen's eyes studied him, her expression unreadable. Yet Elias felt that she recognized something in him, a bravery, an honesty, a spark of humanity that could not be ignored. Suddenly, the peaceful tension shattered. From the shadows of the canyon, a group of rogue mercenaries, humans and aliens alike, attacked. They had learned of Virelia's energy crystals and wanted them for themselves. "Contact," Elias shouted. His team opened fire, but the attackers were skilled and relentless. Elias dove behind a boulder as energy blasts struck the ground around him. The Queen did not flee. Instead, she moved swiftly, her body almost gliding over the rocky terrain. With gestures that were elegant yet lethal, she unleashed waves of energy that disarmed several attackers. Her powers were precise, controlled, and unlike anything Elias had ever seen. For a moment, he couldn't believe what was happening. They were fighting side by side, not as allies, not as enemies, but in perfect unspoken coordination. Elias realized something remarkable. Despite being from entirely different species, they instinctively understood each other's movements, their strategies, and their intentions. A mercenary lunged toward Elias from the left. Before he could react, the Queen's energy pulse sent the attacker flying backward. Elias barely had time to catch his balance before the next wave of enemies approached. When the battle finally ended, the mercenaries retreated, badly injured and confused by the combined human-alien defense. The canyon was quiet again, the only sound the faint hum of the energy crystals. Elias looked at the Queen, breathing heavily. You saved us," he said, almost in disbelief. The Queen simply stared, her expression calm but intense. There was no pride, no aggression, only recognition. Elias sensed she understood something deep and fundamental about him, his courage, his loyalty, his unyielding spirit. Mara approached cautiously. "Captain, she didn't attack us. Why?" "I don't know," Elias admitted. His eyes never left the Queen. "Maybe she sees something in me, something I can't explain either." The Queen took a step closer, and Elias felt the energy around them intensify. The crystals in the canyon pulsed faster, as if responding to their shared presence. For a moment, it was as though time had slowed, the chaos of battle and the dangers of the planet fading into insignificance. Then the Queen turned, moving gracefully toward a nearby cliff. Elias followed, unsure why he was compelled to do so. Each step felt guided by something unseen, an invisible thread linking them across species and worlds. From a vantage point above, the Queen gestured toward a deep fissure in the cliffside. Within, Elias saw the source of the energy signals, a crystalline chamber glowing with an inner light that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. This is incredible," Mara whispered, her voice filled with awe. "It's like the planet itself is alive." The Queen's gaze met Elias's again. Without words, she conveyed something profound. "This place, this energy is sacred, and it is connected to both of us." Elias stepped forward, examining the crystals. They seemed to resonate with his presence, humming softly when his hand approached them. The Queen watched closely, her expression unreadable yet filled with curiosity. "Captain, these crystals," Mara began. "They're reacting to him." "Not just anyone, only him," Elias frowned. "What do you mean?" "They're resonating with your energy," Mara explained. "I've never seen anything like this. It's almost like the planet recognizes you." The Queen tilted her head slightly as if confirming Mara's observation. Elias realized with a mix of awe and fear that the connection he felt with her went beyond mere curiosity. It was cosmic, almost predestined. Hours passed as they explored the chamber. Elias felt the Queen's presence constantly near, guiding without directing. He could not understand her language, but he felt her intentions, her respect, her caution, and perhaps even something deeper, a bond neither fully understood. As the twin suns began to set, Elias and his team prepared to return to their shuttle. The Queen lingered at the edge of the chamber, watching them leave. For a moment their eyes met, and Elias felt a jolt, a surge of energy and understanding that left him breathless. He did not know what the future held, or why he felt so drawn to this mysterious being. But one thing was certain. The alien Queen was no ordinary enemy, and the connection they shared would not be easily forgotten. As the shuttle lifted off, Elias looked down at the planet below. The canyon, the crystals, the Queen's gaze, they all burned in his mind. He could not explain it, but he knew their paths were intertwined. Something far greater than war, than duty, than survival was beginning between them. And somewhere high above, the alien queen watched the human warrior depart. She felt a stirring in her heart and mind, a feeling she had never known in all her years of ruling her people. It was curiosity, admiration, and something far stranger, a sense of connection that defied reason. The galaxy was vast, full of enemies, allies, and unknown threats. Yet in that moment on a distant planet, two beings from different worlds had found each other. Their encounter would set the stage for events that could change the balance of the stars forever. For now, the first thread of trust had been woven, and in the quiet of the canyon, the crystals pulsed steadily as if acknowledging the beginning of a bond that no weapon, no war, could easily break. The story was only beginning. The journey back to the human base was quiet, the shuttle gliding smoothly over Virelia's jagged terrain. Captain Elias Kane sat by the window, staring down at the glowing crystals scattered across the planet below. The memory of the alien queen's gaze lingered in his mind, a strange mix of awe, fear, and curiosity. Lieutenant Mara Chen noticed his silence. "Captain, you've been quiet since we left the canyon," she said softly. "You think about her, don't you?" Elias sighed. "I don't know what to think, Mara. She's different. I've faced countless enemies, and I've seen many things in this galaxy. But what I felt back there..."
"It's something I can't explain." Mara nodded, understanding.
"I felt it too. Not in the same way, but the planet, the crystals, her energy. It's like she's connected to something bigger than us." Elias leaned back, closing his eyes for a moment. "I keep thinking, why me? Why this connection? Why now?" At the same time, far above the planet, in a hidden palace of crystal and light, the alien queen paced. Her mind was restless, filled with thoughts she could not name. Her council had no answer, and her people would not understand. To them, Elias Kane was merely a human warrior, an enemy. Yet she could not shake the feeling that their meeting was not by chance. "He is unlike any human I have encountered," she whispered to herself. "There is courage in him, yes, but more than that. Something familiar. Something I cannot explain." One of her advisors, a tall silver-skinned alien named Thalor, approached cautiously. "My queen, are you considering interfering with him?" The queen shook her head slowly. "I do not know, Thalor. I only know that he is special, and the planet responds to him. That is all I can say." Thalor's eyes narrowed. "It is dangerous. Our people would never accept a bond with a human. You risk more than your reputation. You risk your throne." The queen's eyes flashed with determination. "I will not ignore this. I must understand it, even if it defies everything I have known." Meanwhile, back at the human base, Elias and his team were studying the data they had collected from the canyon. The energy readings were unlike anything in their records. The crystals emitted pulses that seemed almost conscious, reacting to human presence in ways that defied logic. "Captain," Mara said, pointing to the readings, "look at this. The energy seems to resonate specifically with your biometrics. Not just anyone can activate it. It's like it's responding to you." Elias stared at the data in disbelief. "So what you're saying is that I'm connected to it?" "It seems that way," Mara said. "And if the alien queen's energy is linked to the crystals too, then maybe this is why she didn't attack us. Maybe she sensed the connection before we even did." Elias leaned back in his chair, deep in thought. "If that's true, then this isn't just about the planet or the crystals or even her. This is something bigger. Something that could change everything we know about humans and aliens." The next days passed with careful study and cautious exploration. Elias found himself thinking about the alien queen constantly. He remembered how she moved, how she fought, and most of all, how she looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and respect. Then came the first message, a cryptic signal encoded in the energy pulses of the crystals. Elias didn't recognize the language, but he instinctively knew it was from her. Mara helped him decode the patterns, translating them into simple symbols that conveyed meaning. "Meet me. Alone." Elias hesitated. He knew it was risky. Meeting her could be dangerous, but the pull he felt was too strong to ignore. He prepared for the journey back to the canyon, taking only what was necessary, leaving the rest of the team behind with instructions to maintain communication. The canyon greeted him as it had before, its jagged cliffs glowing faintly in the morning light. The crystals pulsed softly, guiding him deeper into the valley. And then there she was, the alien queen, waiting. "Captain Kane," she said, her voice still a melody he could not understand fully, yet somehow he felt the meaning clearly. "You came," he nodded. "I did. I don't know why, but I felt I had to." She studied him, her eyes searching. "You understand the connection, don't you?" Elias shook his head slowly. "I feel it. I know it's there. But I don't understand it. Not yet." For a long moment they stood silently, the energy from the crystals surrounding them like a protective bubble. Then the queen moved closer, gesturing for him to follow. Elias obeyed, sensing that she wanted to show him something. They entered a hidden chamber deep within the canyon. The walls were lined with crystals that pulsed brighter than any Elias had seen before. In the center of the chamber, a massive crystal floated, radiating energy in waves that seemed almost alive. "This," she said, pointing to the crystal, "is the heart of the planet. It is connected to all life here, and it is connected to you." Elias stepped forward cautiously, feeling the warmth of the crystal's energy. He could sense it resonating with him, responding to his heartbeat, his presence. It was both beautiful and overwhelming. "Why me?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Why this connection?" The queen looked at him with a mixture of wonder and uncertainty. "I do not know. Perhaps it is destiny. Perhaps it is chance. But something in you awakens the planet, and something in me recognizes it." Elias felt a shiver run down his spine. He realized that their connection was more than curiosity or coincidence. It was something ancient, something beyond understanding, a bond that tied humans, aliens, and the very essence of the planet together. Over the following days, they continued to meet in secret. Elias learned more about the alien queen, not just her power, but her thoughts, her fears, and the weight of her responsibilities. She confided that her people had never experienced a connection like this before and that it frightened her. "Do you trust me?" Elias asked one day, his eyes searching hers. She hesitated. "I do not know what trust means between our species, but I feel something, and that something compels me to protect you, to understand you." Elias nodded. "I feel the same. Even though we come from different worlds, I think we are meant to understand each other. Somehow." Their secret meeting strengthened their bond. They fought together against the rogue factions that still sought the crystals, using their combined intelligence and strength to defend both the humans and the planet. Each encounter, each battle, reinforced their unspoken trust and connection. Yet the Queen's Council began to notice anomalies. Crystal activations that should have been impossible. Energy signatures that did not match their understanding. Whispers of discontent spread among her people. "This human," one council member said, "he is dangerous. He changes things we do not understand. The Queen is being reckless, but the Queen remained resolute. He is not the danger. Our misunderstanding is, and perhaps, he is the key to something greater than our fears." Meanwhile, Elias faced challenges of his own. Some of his human colleagues began to suspect his unusual behavior and the secrecy surrounding his expeditions, but he remained focused. The bond he felt with the alien queen and the mysterious connection to the planet had become his mission, more than any military objective or orders from his superiors. One evening, as the twin suns set over Veralia, Elias and the queen stood at the edge of a cliff, watching the crystals glow in the fading light. "Do you feel it?" Elias asked quietly. The queen nodded. "Yes, and it frightens me. Yet it also gives me hope. Hope that we can do more than fight. That we can understand." Elias reached out, and for the first time their hands hovered near each other. A spark of energy pulsed between them, a tangible sign of the bond neither could fully explain. They did not speak. Words were unnecessary. The connection was clear. Far above, unseen forces watched. Some were allies, some were enemies, and some were observers from distant worlds. But the bond between Elias Kane and the alien queen had been forged, and nothing could easily undo it. In the quiet of the canyon, the crystals pulsed steadily, reflecting the new alliance of two beings from different worlds. Trust had been built, secrets had been shared, and a bond had begun to grow stronger. The universe was vast, and dangers were many. But for Elias Kane and the alien queen, One truth had become certain. Together they could face what no one else could, and perhaps discover the mysteries of life, energy, and connection that lay hidden among the stars. The threads of their fate were entwined, and the story of humans, aliens, and the planet's ancient power had only begun to unfold. The twin suns of Viralia hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the jagged cliffs. Captain Elias Kane stood at the edge of a canyon, his gaze fixed on the horizon. The alien queen's presence was near, though she remained hidden as always. Their bond had grown stronger over the past weeks. Yet the universe had a way of testing even the strongest connections. Reports had arrived from human scouts. Rogue factions were mobilizing, and they were not alone. Some of the Queen's own advisors had begun questioning her actions. Elias felt the tension as acutely as he felt the pull of the crystals beneath the planet's surface. "Captain," Lieutenant Mara Chen said, walking up behind him, "we've received new intelligence. The mercenaries have joined forces with unknown alien factions. They're heading straight for the canyon." Elias clenched his fists. "They're coming for the crystals. And for us. We need to prepare." At the same time, the alien queen stood on a high cliff overlooking the same valley. Her council had summoned her urgently. "You have gone too far," Thalor, her advisor, said, his voice sharp. "The human warrior is influencing the planet. The crystals respond to him. Your people will not forgive this. You must destroy him before it's too late." The queen's eyes blazed with resolve. "No, I will not harm him. He is not the enemy. Our failure to understand him would be the true danger." Thalor's jaw tightened. "You defy tradition. You defy your duty. Your throne is at risk." "I understand the risks," she replied calmly. "But I also understand what is right." And he is right too. Back in the canyon, Elias and his team worked tirelessly to reinforce their positions. Energy barriers were deployed near the crystals, and sensors were calibrated to detect any movement. Elias could feel the alien queen nearby, her energy resonating with the crystals, strengthening the defenses in ways he could not fully comprehend. "Captain," Mara said, adjusting a scanner, "there's a pattern. The mercenaries aren't just attacking, they're trying to disrupt the crystal's energy. They know it's valuable and they want to control it." Elias nodded. "Then we'll stop them, no matter what it takes." As night fell, the first waves of attackers arrived. Drones, mercenaries, and alien warriors descended upon the canyon, striking with precision and ferocity. The human team fired relentlessly, holding the line, but the attackers were numerous and coordinated. Then, the alien queen appeared. She moved like a shadow, swift and controlled, her energy pulses dismantling enemy weapons and shielding human soldiers. Elias watched her fight, awe and concern mixing in his chest. "Captain Kane," she said, her voice carrying over the battlefield, "we must work together." "Trust me, I do," Elias shouted back. Now, their combined strategy turned the tide. Elias led the humans with skill and bravery, coordinating attacks and covering weaknesses, while the Queen used her powers to protect the crystals and neutralize the most dangerous threats. But the Council's spies had not stayed silent. From a hidden ridge, a group of alien warriors loyal to Thalor prepared an ambush. They would strike the Queen while Elias was distracted, hoping to end the connection between human and Queen. Elias sensed something was wrong. "Mara, watch the cliffs. They're planning something." The ambush hit faster than he expected. Energy blasts rained down toward the Queen, and Elias ran to intercept, firing at the attackers. The Queen deflected some blasts, but a few struck her, sending her staggering backward. "Queen!" Elias yelled, rushing to her side. She steadied herself, her energy pulsing brighter than ever. "I am fine," she said, though Elias could see the strain in her posture. "But we must end this now." Together they executed a coordinated maneuver. Elias drew enemy fire while the Queen channeled energy into the largest crystal at the center of the canyon. A brilliant light erupted, waves of power sweeping across the battlefield, disarming attackers and scattering their forces. When the dust settled, silence returned. The canyon glowed softly with the energy of the crystals, now pulsing steadily in harmony with both Elias and the Queen. Elias stood beside her, breathing heavily. "That was too close," he said. "They'll be back," she nodded, her gaze thoughtful. "Yes, and next time. They may be stronger. We must prepare, and we must understand the bond that ties us to this planet. It is the only way to protect it." The Queen's advisors were furious. Thaylor approached her from the shadows, his face a mask of anger. You risk everything for a human warrior. Do you not see the danger? Your people may rise against you. The queen faced him, calm but resolute. I see the danger, but I also see the truth. The human is not our enemy, and if we do not learn from this connection, the true threat will destroy us all. Thaylor's eyes narrowed. You are blinded by your feelings. The council will act if you do not obey. She did not reply. Her focus was on Elias, who stood a few meters away, exhausted but alive. She had made her choice. Her duty to her people remained, but her respect and trust in him were stronger than fear or tradition. Elias, sensing the tension among her people, approached carefully. Queen, I know your advisors don't understand us. They think I'm a threat. But we can stop them together, she nodded. Yes, together. That night, as the two of them observed the canyon from a high cliff, they spoke quietly about strategy and plans for the coming days. Their bond had grown stronger through the battle, and with it a mutual understanding. Words were not always needed. The energy of the crystals, the unspoken trust, and the connection they shared communicated more than language could convey. We are different, Elias said, looking out at the glowing crystals. But somehow, I feel like we understand each other better than anyone else in our worlds ever could. The queen's eyes softened. I feel it too, and it frightens me. Not because of what we feel, but because of what it could mean if we are discovered. If they see this connection, it could lead to war. Elias nodded. Then we keep moving forward carefully. We protect the planet, the crystals, and each other. That is our mission now. In the distance, new lights flickered. More enemy ships were approaching from the horizon, signaling that the next battle was inevitable. Elias and the queen shared a determined glance. We face them together, she said, no matter what comes. Together, Elias confirmed. As the twin suns finally dipped below the horizon, the canyon glowed with the power of the crystals, reflecting the growing bond between the human warrior and the alien queen. Their connection had been tested by fire and conflict, yet it remained unbroken. But the galaxy was vast, and the forces that sought the crystals were numerous. Both Elias and the queen knew that the coming days would challenge their trust, their strength, and their understanding of the bond that linked them. And yet, in that quiet moment high above the canyon, they allowed themselves a rare feeling, hope. Hope that two beings from different worlds, guided by courage, trust, and an unexplainable connection, could stand against the rising tide of war and discover the true power hidden within Veralia. The story was far from over. The next battle would test not only their skills but the strength of the bond that had begun to define them, and perhaps the future of both human and alien civilizations. The twin suns of Veralia had barely risen, painting the jagged cliffs in warm shades of gold. Captain Elias Kane stood at the edge of the canyon, his armored boots digging into the rocky ground. He could feel the alien queen's presence nearby, though she remained hidden from view. The air shimmered with energy as the planet's crystals pulsed softly, responding to their combined connection. It had been days since the last battle, yet Elias knew the enemy would return. Rogue mercenaries, allied alien factions, and even discontented members of the Queen's Council were gathering forces. But this time Elias was not alone. The alien queen had chosen to stand with him, not as an enemy, not as a ruler, but as an equal partner in protecting the planet. Lieutenant Mara Chen approached, scanning the horizon. Captain, sensors detect a fleet approaching from multiple directions. They've learned from their last attack. They'll strike harder this time. Elias nodded. Then we must be ready. Prepare the defenses and alert the teams. We fight not just for the crystals, but for the future of this planet and maybe more than that. Meanwhile, high above the canyon, the alien queen faced her own challenge. Her council had convened urgently, demanding she either abandon the human warrior or face rebellion. Thaylor and the other advisors stood before her, their expressions filled with fury and disbelief. You are risking everything for him, Thaylor said sharply. Your people will not forgive this. If you continue, your throne will fall and the planet will be lost. The queen's eyes met his, steady and unwavering. I am risking everything for the right reason. The human warrior is not the enemy. He represents courage, trust, and understanding, qualities that our people need. If we cannot learn from this, the true threat will destroy us all. A tense silence filled the chamber. Some advisors began to murmur. questioning her decision, but the queen remained resolute. She had made her choice, and no threat could sway her from it. Back on the canyon floor, the enemy fleet arrived, dark ships blotting out the morning sun. Energy blasts lit up the sky as the attackers advanced, intent on capturing the crystals and controlling the planet. Elias and his team braced for the assault, their weapons ready, their hearts pounding. The alien queen appeared beside him, radiant and calm. "Trust me," she said softly. "I do," Elias replied. Together they coordinated their forces. Elias led the human warriors with precision, anticipating enemy movements and directing fire with tactical brilliance. The queen used her energy to shield the crystals, disarm attackers, and create barriers that protected both humans and the planet's natural formations. For hours, the battle raged. Enemy ships and troops were relentless, but the bond between Elias and the queen proved stronger than any weapon. Their instincts aligned, each anticipating the other's moves. Where one saw danger, the other provided protection. Where one attacked, the other reinforced. At the climax of the battle, a massive wave of energy from the enemy threatened to destroy the largest crystal at the center of the canyon. Elias and the queen raced to its side. "Together," Elias said. The queen nodded. They placed their hands on the crystal simultaneously, channeling their energy into it. A brilliant light exploded from the center, sending shockwaves that rippled across the battlefield. The enemies were thrown back, disoriented and defeated. The crystal's energy stabilized, stronger than ever, resonating with both human and alien alike. When the light faded, silence returned. The enemy forces had retreated, their ships fleeing into the distance. The canyon glowed softly, the crystals pulsating in harmony with Elias and the queen. Elias turned to the queen, breathing heavily but smiling. "We did it. We protected the planet." She looked at him, her expression a mix of relief and admiration. "Yes, but this is only the beginning. There are still those who do not understand, still those who see us as enemies. We must continue to show that unity is stronger than fear." From her council, whispers of approval began to spread. Some advisors approached, hesitant but respectful. They had witnessed the courage and wisdom of the human warrior and the queen's leadership. Slowly, they began to understand that cooperation, trust, and connection could achieve what fear and division never could. Thaler, still cautious, approached the queen. "Perhaps there is merit in your choice," he said quietly. "Perhaps the human is not our enemy, but a partner." The queen nodded, her eyes returning to Elias. "Yes, and together, we will face whatever comes next." As the sun fully rose, casting light across the canyon, Elias and the queen stood side by side. The energy of the crystals flowed around them, a symbol of the bond they shared, a bond that transcended species, traditions, and fear. Elias turned to the queen. "Do you think our worlds can ever truly understand each other?" She smiled softly. "Perhaps not fully, but understanding begins with trust, courage, and willingness to see beyond differences. You have shown me that, Captain Kane, and together we can show our people as well." Mara approached, her eyes shining with hope. "Captain, the team is ready. We can begin coordinating efforts to rebuild and protect the planet. Your leadership and hers has inspired everyone." Elias nodded. "Then let's do it. Not as humans or aliens, but as allies. As friends. As something greater than war." Over the following weeks, humans and aliens worked together, guided by the leadership of Elias Kane and the alien queen. Defense systems were strengthened, new settlements were established, and the energy of the crystals was studied and protected. The rogue factions that once threatened the planet had been repelled, and many chose to abandon their aggressive ways, inspired by the unity they witnessed. The alien queen's council, once divided and fearful, gradually accepted Elias as a partner. They could not fully understand the bond between him and the queen, but they saw its results: the survival of their world, the protection of the crystals, and the courage displayed in battle. One evening, as the twin suns set over the canyon, Elias and the queen stood together, watching the glowing crystals. "You have changed my world," the queen said softly, "and perhaps you have changed mine as well." Elias looked at her, his eyes filled with respect and warmth. "And you have changed mine. I never imagined I would find understanding and friendship in the most unexpected place." The queen smiled. "Friendship. Perhaps something more will grow with time. But for now, we have achieved what many thought impossible. We have protected life and we have built trust. Elias nodded. Yes, and that trust, it will guide us through whatever comes next. As the light of the setting suns bathed the canyon in golden violet, humans and aliens gathered, working together in harmony. The energy of the crystals pulsed steadily, a living reminder of the bond that had been forged between two beings from different worlds. In the vast galaxy, threats and challenges still awaited. But the story of Elias Kane and the Alien Queen had become a legend, a tale of courage, unity, and understanding that transcended fear and war. For the first time, humans and aliens saw each other not as enemies, but as partners capable of achieving something greater than themselves. And the Alien Queen, who had once questioned her feelings and her duty, now understood that the connection she felt to the human warrior was not a weakness, but a source of strength. Elias reached out and the Queen took his hand. Together they felt the pulse of the planet beneath them, the heartbeat of the crystals, and the shared energy that had changed everything. Captain Kane, the Queen said, her voice calm and certain, whatever the galaxy holds, we will face it together. As allies, as friends, as guardians, Elias smiled. As guardians, he agreed. And so on a distant planet bathed in the light of twin suns, a human warrior and an alien queen stood united, their bond unbroken, their courage unwavering, and their hearts open to a future where understanding and cooperation could triumph over fear, division, and war. The galaxy was vast, the adventures yet to come and the challenges uncountable. But Elias Kane and the Alien Queen had discovered a truth greater than any battle, that connection, trust, and courage could bridge even the widest gaps between worlds. And in that truth, they found hope.